Hey everyone, it's Cindy with Monarch Mom DIY. Thanks for joining me today on my channel for some new spring farmhouse decor DIYs. For our first project, you'll need these items from the Dollar Tree or Walmart. If you didn't catch my video on how I do the wording on these signs, I will link that in the description box below. I'll go in more detail on that video. First, I'm turning this sign over and giving it a layer of Waverly chalk paint in the color Truffle. I just want this wood to have kind of an older look to it, so I'm starting with the dark brown and then I'll go over it with a watered down Waverly chalk paint in white. One of the beautiful things about DIYs is you don't really know how your final project is going to turn out. So you'll see here I'm doing a little bit of playing around with the consistency of the paint and how I want them blended together for my sign before I start adding wording to it. Okay, moving on to my wording. As I've done before, I will scribble pencil on the back of my wording so that I can then trace it onto my wood to be able to trace it with a paint marker. So if you want to see in more detail how I do this, again, go to the video that I will link in the description about how to add wording to signs. And now I am tracing the wording and the pencil will transfer to my wood so I can trace it with the paint marker and not have to worry about freehanding the words. I'm interested to know what are some signs that you guys would like to see me do wording for. I've done Home Sweet Home and Simply Blessed. Do you have other ideas you'd like to see? As I mentioned before, I prefer the Painter's brand paint markers from Walmart. I will try to put a link in the description box of the kind that I use, but they're about $2 a piece and they're very good quality. They do have fine point, medium point, which is what I'm using here, and a chisel tip. I believe those are the 3 types, but they do also come in quite a variety of colors for different projects. I decided to add some, I think they're called laurel leaves, to either side of my words just to fill in some of the blank space on my sign. So I'm using the same technique that I did for the words, and I'm just going to again trace the leaves, and it'll transfer that pencil that I scribbled on the back so that I'll be able to trace the leaves with a different paint marker. Believe it or not, sometimes Dollar Tree carries paint markers, the Jot brand, and I found that the green ones that I bought at Christmas time for a different project actually work pretty well, considering they only cost $1. So this is, I would call it maybe a light green color. I know I have seen purple, pink, maybe a teal, also at Dollar Tree. So if you see them, you might want to buy one and give it a try. And I didn't have a fine tip black paint marker, but this regular black Sharpie worked just fine to outline the leaves on the sign. I was planning on trying to make my own burlap flowers for this sign, but ran out of time, and these were 50% off at Hobby Lobby, so I just got this package of burlap roses from there. I'm going to only use 2 of the natural colored ones. If you notice, I did make one of them slightly smaller. And for my finishing touch, I'm going to use this jute twine from Walmart, not only as the hanger, but I decided I wanted to just add a little something by going around the border of the sign with it. I really was wanting that worn look around the edges, but it just wasn't working out for me, so I decided to use more of the jute twine, and I just love how it turned out. My second project is a neutral spring wreath. I found this grapevine wreath at a thrift store for $3. You'll also need some flowers and some ribbon. So I apologize, this wreath is very large, and so a lot of what I filmed was out of frame, but I think you can get the idea what I'm doing. I took these flowers that I bought last spring from Dollar Tree and just started sticking them in, tucking them into the wreath, some at the top on the left side and some at the bottom. I left a space in the middle where I'm going to end up putting a bow. Again, with your DIYs, there is no right or wrong way to do this. It's completely up to your personal taste, which flowers you use, and how many. The next thing I did was flip the wreath over and just apply some hot glue where I saw the stems attaching or where they were close to the wreath. Then I'm going through and cutting off the ends that were sticking way past the wreath. So next I hot glued a few of the leaves that I had pulled off these flower stems, just tucking them in here and there to add a little bit more dimension and texture and little breaking up of the white color of the flowers. Again, no right or wrong, however you want to do it. I decided to fill in the gap between the two sets of flowers with some burlap ribbon and then added more leaves on either side of it. I struggled a little bit with making my bow, but eventually got it and just hot glued that to that space and then trimmed the two ends hanging down. And here it is. I'm really excited to hang this on my front door, and I may even hang the Home Sweet Home sign in the middle. Moving on to our next project, you will need a wood picture frame, a wire trash can from Dollar Tree, some of the Dollar Tree plastic eggs, and some chalk paint. I found this frame, which I believe is an 8x10, at a thrift store for $1. I love the dark wood color, but I am taking this Waverly chalk paint in the color Pool, which is kind of a robin's egg blue, and giving it a very messy coat over this wood frame. Next, I'm taking my wire cutters from the Dollar Tree and I'm cutting around the bottom of this trash can, and then I'm also going to go around the top edge and then cut straight down to make this one large piece. I wanted chicken wire, but they don't have that at Dollar Tree, and I really wanted to try to make this a project that you could do with items from the Dollar Tree. Next, I'm taking a wet paper towel and I'm wet distressing around the picture frame. This is very easy and a lot less messy than using sandpaper. So once I have it distressed how I want, I turned it over and I'm just going to kind of eyeball and cut the, I'm going to call it chicken wire, for the back of our frame. I'd say this step probably took the longest for this project, just to make sure I had it covering the space and also hot gluing it down. I had to do just a small section at a time and then wait for it to be pretty much dry before moving on to another part. You can see I'm trying to push it down with my scissors. At other places, you'll see I'm trying to put heavier things down to try to keep it flat. So once the wire was securely glued down all the way around the frame, I took some of these eggs from Dollar Tree. They do only have one of each color in a package. I had purchased 4 packages because I just wanted to use the bluish green and the white for this project. I just put some tape down so I could kind of guide my circle, and then with a dot of hot glue on either end, I'm just gluing these eggs together to make a wreath. And here's the circle of eggs all glued together. Next, I'm taking more of my jute twine and I'm going to hang the wreath and then glue the jute twine to the back of my frame so that it is freely hanging on the front of the frame. And then I just wanted to add a real simple jute string bow to the front of the wreath, to the top, just for one little added touch. I absolutely love how this turned out. I just think it's so farmhouse and fresh for spring. And my last project for today is taking 2 wooden birdhouses, 3 of the glass candlesticks, some chalk paint, and E6000. I have been looking for these wood birdhouses at Dollar Tree and Walmart and could not find them. I finally found these 2 at a local thrift store. They were 75 cents each. I also found the glass candlesticks, which we know we can find at Dollar Tree for $1, but mine were 50 cents each. So I'm excited. I made this set of 2 birdhouses on candlesticks for $3. Here I'm using a chalk paint that I purchased at Joann's when I repainted some of my tables. It's a grayish blue called Nautical, and it's the home decor chalk paint by Folk Art. My sincere apologies that much of my painting of these birdhouses is out of frame, but I did edit it down because I think you get the idea. The second birdhouse is painted in Waverly chalk paint in the color crimson. I did have to give these birdhouses each 2 coats of chalk paint to get it completely covered. And I was talking while I did it, but with the 3 candlesticks, I took 2 of them and took E6000 and glued them together at the tops. You can see them sitting off to the side there. And once they're dry, we will be painting those as well. So here they are to give 2 different heights. I'm going to put one birdhouse on one candlestick and the other birdhouse on the 2 candlesticks that are glued together. I'm going to paint them now with Waverly chalk paint in the color white, and they also did need 2 coats. I decided to add some of this nautical rope from the Dollar Tree to my birdhouses for a little bit more of a farmhouse feel. And I just used hot glue to glue them around the edges of the roof on each birdhouse. Once everything was dry, I took E6000 and glued the red birdhouse to the single candlestick and then the blue birdhouse to the double candlestick. This one was a little trickier because the base was so much bigger, but I just centered it as best I could, and I will touch up any white paint as needed. One more finishing touch, I decided to wrap some jute twine around part of each of the candlesticks to finish off the farmhouse look. After wrapping the twine on both candlesticks, this is how they turned out, and I love the product. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye-bye.